So the other day I was looking in the mirror and I was like, nice biceps. And then I randomly started thinking like, what color is a mirror actually? And that's why today's video is all about mirrors. People have always been curious about what they look like, but honestly, you'll never really see your own face, just the reflection or a photo. Well, except your nose. You're noticing it right now, but in a second, you'll forget it's even there. And speaking of that, congrats. Now you're breathing and blinking manually. Anyway, that's pretty much why mirrors were invented. The very first mirrors people used were polished stones, like obsidian, more than 6,000 years before Christ. Later on, polished copper or bronze was used as mirrors. Eventually, people started making mirrors out of glass, and that's basically what most mirrors are still made of today. Glass is perfect for this because it's super smooth, hard, and resistant to scratches. But the thing is, glass by itself doesn't really reflect much. That's why other materials get added to the back of it. The most common ones are silver or aluminum, which are applied in a thin layer when they're in liquid form. So what color is it actually? The first answer that might pop into your head is that it's just silver. I mean, if a mirror is made from aluminum or silver, then it should be silver colored, right? No. To really get what color a mirror is, we need to remind ourselves what color even is. Basically, color is nothing more than electromagnetic waves of a certain wavelength that our brain decided to interpret in a specific way. For example, wavelengths around 500 nanometers look green to us, and around 700 nanometers look red. You might have noticed that white isn't actually in this spectrum, and that's because white happens when all wavelengths get mixed together. For example, the sun gives off all the different colors, and when they all mix together, that's what we see as regular white light. You can actually prove that white light is just a mix of all colors with a rainbow. A rainbow happens when sunlight gets split into the full spectrum of colors. Now, when that white light shines on something like a banana, the banana absorbs pretty much all the wavelengths except the one that corresponds to yellow. That yellow wavelength gets reflected back to your eyes, and that's why the banana looks yellow. In other words, an object looks like the color it reflects the most. And mirrors? They reflect literally all colors. So a mirror basically just looks like whatever color it's reflecting at the moment. If you put a mirror in a blue room, it'll look blue. Put it in a pink room, it'll look pink. That means the actual color of a mirror is basically white. If a mirror got hit by pure white light and nothing else, it would look white. Not blue, not yellow, and definitely not silver. Just plain white. But of course, we don't live in a perfect world. And mirrors aren't perfect either, so they're not entirely white. Actually, mirrors absorb a tiny bit of light and reflect a little more green. You can really notice this when you put two mirrors facing each other. They make this infinite tunnel effect. The further you look into the mirrors, the greener it seems. So, the answer to the question, what color is a mirror, is basically white, with a hint of green. Another cool thing about mirrors is that they flip everything. Your left hand looks like your right in the reflection, and the right looks like the left. This probably isn't anything new to you, but you might not notice it every time you look in the mirror. Basically, if you check your reflection every day instead of seeing how you actually look, you get used to that reflected version of yourself. So when you see yourself in a photo, you suddenly look different because you're no longer flipped. A lot of people don't like how they look in pictures or videos for this exact reason. They're just used to the mirrored version they see every day. So yeah, mirrors are kind of pointless. And I haven't even mentioned that you actually see yourself about 30 nanoseconds younger in them. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit like and drop a comment. Good night.